Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do have some big election data to get to here today. We've seen Donald Trump, in terms of the polls, consistently overperform in many key demographics, in many key age ranges. You can see this is an outrageous poll in Michigan that has Trump tied with people 18 to 29. That would be completely unheard of in 2020, even in a poll. I mean, you can see Biden led them 61 to 37, and that's traditionally with, the polls overestimating Biden. So they probably had Biden like plus 30 with people 18 to 29. Now the new polls this year prior to the election in Michigan in specific has it tied. Now, obviously, it's not going to be tied. Kamala's going to win people 18 to 29. It would have to be an absurd shift that we really haven't seen before. It's just not going to happen. But we're going to see Donald Trump make up significant ground when it comes to younger people. Specifically, you look at a state like Michigan, if you're making up like 25 points on people 18 to 29, even though statistics show obviously they don't vote a ton, that's still a huge difference. Even if you're able to make up 12 to 15%, considering the state is only going to be decided by a point to 2 points, this is big stuff. You've also got the Arab vote. I saw Trump leading that by 1 point. I think it was just like a general thing, but that's huge in Michigan considering Biden won that vote by 20 points in 2020. So when you look at Trump barely losing in 2020 in many of these important swing states, the way he's been able to improve the key demographics, it would be shocking if he lost this election. And this is just one poll. But again, in 2020, you would never, ever in your wildest dreams see a poll like this where young people are tied in a swing state like Michigan that you could argue is even more liberal than conservative by a few points, because we think Michigan might be a little bit more liberal than Pennsylvania or maybe even Wisconsin. But that is a very, very key thing there. Oh, so I saw this. White dudes for Harris. Look at this guy. I mean, this is just, he's got the fist going. Where dude, it's almost like that was scripted, because I think she just said we're not going back. I swear, if you go to a Kamala rally, I feel like she'll say the same 5 things. Did she seriously say we're not going back?
Need help and support, being denied.
The fist.
We're not going.
She did say this dude. Oh, white dudes for Harris. There's been so many instances behind Walz or Harris when they're at a rally. They'll be like these really feminine men, and that's the white dudes for Harris. Remember, they got all the actors to do it. They'd have these Zoom calls like when Kamala was announced right around the DNC, and it'd be like Ben Stiller, and there'd be like 100 people watching. It's like I get like 4 or 5 times the amount of views when I do live streams than these people. They get, and it's like a funded operation of millions of dollars, and they're doing, it's like white dudes for Harris. It gets like 300 views. Seriously, they have videos. Remember how bad? Okay, this is going off topic, but remember when they would bring influencers, like liberal influencers that were either TikTok or whatever, to the White House to talk about COVID with Biden? And the videos got nuked so hard by dislikes. I mean, it would be like the like rate would be, I think, like 5%. Seriously, like, it's historic. You've never seen it'd be like 123 likes, 5.3K dislikes when they'd bring these people there, and they talk about, it's like, I mean, why are you talking about COVID with influencers? It doesn't make any. Oh, this is hilarious.
Tell me about Joe and
she just sounds totally drunk there. I'm sorry.
So tell me about Joe and your relationship with Joe.
Obama's pissed.
What do I need to know? Like, what's the thing about the ice cream? He loves ice cream. Tell me about that.
Well, listen, ice cream is big. Pasta with red sauce. He can go.
It's just the dynamic. It's the dynamic of Kamala sounding drunk and Obama like being forced to give analysis on what Biden likes. Like, that's what it comes off as.
Deep on that.
Like, look at this.
He really does like those aviator glasses. He knows he looks good in them.
But it's like Obama is forced to give analysis. Oh, there's the poll. Trump +1. Biden got 59%. That's an improvement of 19 to 20 points. That's huge in Michigan. Huge in Michigan. Politico describing Walz's eyes. Walz's eyes showed his passion. Eye-popping can sometimes be a sign of surprise, but for Walz, it simply revealed his emotional intensity. Wow. So, but I mean, they're trying to like Wallace's body language. If you're ever in a debate, do the exact opposite of what Wallace did. I'm serious. I mean, that's how bad. I mean, he looked so just not confident at all. Pennsylvania change in voter registration by parties since 2020. 63 of 67 counties shifted Republican. And a lot of these counties, some of them are very rural, so they're going to have a low population, so they can shift. But I mean, to see some of 38%. Oh no, that doesn't really depict it because you're looking at 43 to 51. But still, I mean, pretty much all of these counties, it looks like, have shifted right. And Republicans have made up at least 400. Like, they've cut into over half of the voter registration advantage in Pennsylvania. You have to figure, liberals win Pennsylvania by 80K votes. They had an 800K voter registration advantage. Now they've got around a 350K voter registration advantage, and they won by 80K. So you're talking about a guaranteed, you would figure, just based off of voter registration, even though that's not the end-all be-all, you're talking about a closer election. And so that's what I would expect when it comes to the actual election. You've got MSNBC was stunned when a Never Trump guest they invited on to bash Trump changes his mind and said he would vote for Trump. Let's see what this is.
For you after that, why was it important for you to say no more Trump because of his January 6th conduct? And do you stand by that?
No, I don't stand by it. And I'll tell you why. I've now lived
Look at this lady. She died.
under the
Dude, she died inside when he said
that. And I have to say that those policies
Look at this old dude. He looks miserable.
Are not only becoming an existential threat to our country's way of life, but to our allies as well.
So when you
and it has to
this is
basically, let me summarize. Honestly, this is like the easiest thing ever when it comes to Trump versus Kamala. If you just want to go on a global long-term scale, Donald Trump gives us a better chance at avoiding any type of horrible potential global war. And I don't think that's debatable. I don't even think liberals can debate it. So if you want to talk about Trump, Kamala, this, that, I mean, we could list 50 different reasons, but you're just talking about World War III. Like, imagine it actually happens, or like World War III, it doesn't even have to happen, but imagine we get on the brink of it to where everything tanks and they have to deploy troops and God forbid there's a draft and Kamala wins and then this all happens. I mean, I would be like, this bitch, like, you got to be kidding me. Like, this actually happened, if that actually does, just, if that's how it goes. I mean, it seems like it's possible, unfortunately. There's a new Emerson poll that was just released. It's just like, but just to get back to that point, it's just like, Trump at least has some dialogue with Zelensky and Putin in terms of a peace deal, and it seems like based off of Trump's 4 years, we have a higher probability of having a more peaceful world than what the liberals are doing, to where they're very ironclad and they're very team Ukraine, and it seems like they want to be much more involved in these conflicts, and they want Ukraine to win and everything, and that's good and all, but there are sacrifices to that by prolonging that war, and you're just risking more and more potential escalation while you do that. It's not as simple as to say we have to help Ukraine. It's a lot more complicated than that. We've got a new national poll here that has Harris up by 1.5. That's very good numbers for Trump from Emerson. You would not see an Emerson poll like that in 2020 where it was that close in terms of the popular vote. So... And I would expect, Trump possibly to win the popular vote. If he loses it, it's probably going to be by a point. Even if it is a 1.5, Trump would be looking very good in terms of the Electoral College. Although the popular vote this year is going to get closer no matter what, I will warn people on that. I do think there is a way where Trump can only lose the popular vote by 2.5, but still lose the election. And the reason is because Trump's going to make up significant ground in a state like New York, and also I think in New Jersey as well. Basically what that means is his popular vote number is going to get better, but there's no way he can win electoral votes in New York or New Jersey. So he's going to decrease the margin, which helps the popular vote. He's only going to lose New York by 12, not 23. He's only going to lose New Jersey by 9, not 16. Illinois, he'll make up ground. California, he'll make up ground. New Mexico, he'll probably make up ground. Minnesota, he'll make up ground. Virginia, he'll make up ground. He'll make up ground pretty much everywhere. So that's going to help in terms of the popular vote, but it just comes down to do the states flip. So I do think the math is going to be a little bit different. In 2020, we saw such an extreme where Trump almost won the election, but he lost the popular vote by 4 points. I do think it's going to be a little bit different because Trump's going to make up significant ground in many of the states where he's got no chance to win, like in New York, like in Illinois, like making up 4 or 5 points in California. that's going to happen and it's not going to necessarily help him. But I do think it's a good sign in general that the country is getting more conservative. And I do think that will also be a sign, and it'll lend credence to the idea that Trump will perform better in all the swing states if he's performing better in a lot of these liberal states relative to what he was doing in 2020, especially when it comes to the demographics, when it comes to men. He should win men by more. He should win younger people by more. He should win minorities, it looks like, by more as well. He is performing really well when you look at all of that stuff. And so it would be surprising, based on the fact that he barely lost in 2020, that he would lose in 2024. The only thing I can say is the margins are so tight. It's not like this guarantee, he's up by 4 or 5 in all these polls. Although I do think, based on the polls and how if you compare the polls to 2020 and 2016 and do the average polling error, it should be a very easy victory in 2024. That's not an exact science because we don't even know if there will be a polling error, but we're surmising that there's going to be, based off of what happened in both 2020 and 2016. I'm not saying Trump needs this 4 or 5 point ridiculous polling error like we've seen in Wisconsin the last 2 election cycles. All I'm saying is if he gets a 2 to 3 points error, I mean, he's winning this election with well over 300 electoral votes very easily. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.